Welcome! My name is Alexandra Bolshakov, and I'm a Senior Research Associate on the Healthcare Research Team here at Corporate Insight. Today, I will be going over some findings from our recent study on mental health teletherapy services. I'll start by introducing our services and methodology before diving into the meat and bones of our findings. Corporate Insight is a 30-year-old firm that provides competitive analysis around the customer experience. And we really do that by becoming the customer at the firms that we track across 17 verticals, which include health insurance, health systems, banking, credit cards, brokerage accounts, and others. We help our clients understand what their digital strategies can be and how to take their customer experience and improve it through competitive analysis. Our work answers 4 fundamental questions that help our clients improve their businesses, including: what are their competitors doing? How do their products compare to the competition? Does their product work, and does it solve the needs of their customers? And what is the market doing, and where is it going? With the increased use and interest in teletherapy services for mental health, we conducted user-based and survey research over a 1-month period to better understand the behaviors and attitudes of teletherapy users. We looked to gain insight on the digital experience of various platforms. We surveyed over 1,100 consumers across the U.S., working with our partner Lucid to field the survey. Participants were at least 18 years old and must have engaged in mental or behavioral therapy sessions in the last 6 months. We also conducted 10 user interviews, discussing the respondents' teletherapy experiences. 60% of the interviewees attended teletherapy only, while 40% had attended both virtual and in-person sessions. You can see the gender and age generation breakdowns for the survey participants and interviewees here on the right. For both the survey and the user interviews, we focus on the following areas: motivations, platform usage, therapist relationship, appointment scheduling, communications, and overall satisfaction. We specifically look for key findings across different age groups, genders, and types of users, such as those that are desktop first or mobile first. With that, let's dive into the behaviors of those who attend teletherapy. Teletherapy provides relief to those who find virtual care more realistic or achievable in their lives. 14% of survey respondents attend only teletherapy, while about half attend both in-person and virtual sessions. Teletherapy is the realistic option for many, given life circumstances and constraints, such as time commitments, distance, transportation barriers, and lack of options. Many participants in teletherapy are open to attending or returning to in-person sessions, though a minority of respondents plan on staying fully virtual, citing comfort with their current situation and hesitancy of meeting their therapist for fear of it feeling awkward. Survey respondents prefer desktop over mobile and video calls over audio or text-only sessions for similar reasons. A simulation of an in-person experience became a recurring theme throughout interviews. Interviewees consistently referred to the ability to see and be seen by their provider as a critical part of establishing a relationship. Interviewees also emphasized the size of the desktop screen and allowing a clear display of nonverbal cues, important for mimicking the in-person experience. Another popular sentiment was the physical convenience of not having to hold the device, as well as the importance of being able to gesticulate. Participant 2 articulated this by saying, "It seems more natural when you're looking at the computer screen and you're free to use your hands however you want." All generations prefer video call teletherapy sessions, opposed to audio only or text. Interviewees prioritize the ability to establish a personal connection through projecting and receiving nonverbal cues over video, and found that to be easier with a larger screen. However, patients' device usage and preference do not always align, as individuals juggle preference and convenience. Patients will largely determine which device they'll use depending on their physical situation at the moment, including location, proximity to people and potential interruptions, and prior experience with internet connectivity and tech glitches. Of the 39% of survey respondents who used both desktop and mobile, 64 preferred completing teletherapy sessions on a desktop. 82% of survey respondents used mobile to complete teletherapy some or all of the time, and interviewees reported finding mobile freedom helpful when discussing members of their household, or completing a session when not at home. 40% of millennials use mobile only, while 46% use both mobile and desktop, finding completing a session on a mobile device allows them to seek privacy when not in control of their environment. Insurance provides accessibility to therapy, which is important to users. 56% of survey respondents' teletherapy sessions were fully covered by insurance, and 17% of survey respondent sessions were partially covered. Patients report providing insurance information to their providers via email, text, and paper forms filled out in person. Insurance providers can improve visibility of mental health coverage by making coverage and benefits easily findable. Here we see Humana's member site plan benefits page. It's a great example of clearly listed mental health coverage and pricing information. Humana also provides this telehealth page, which provides a good example of how firms can create teletherapy or mental health pages, assisting members in finding mental health support and resources. Appointment scheduling happens many times through the course of a teletherapy relationship. Users must schedule the initial and continuing appointments, much of which happens outside of the teletherapy platform. Interviewees report scheduling their first appointment through email, text, phone call, or through the app. For continuing appointments, half of the interviewees attended regularly scheduled sessions on a weekly or biweekly cadence, and noted that a 1 to 5 minute section of their session was dedicated to confirming or rescheduling the next appointment. For interviewees who do not attend appointments on a regular basis, they reported using email, phone call, text, and if supported by the mobile app, the message center. Users who needed to reschedule or cancel upcoming appointments outside of their session used text, the teletherapy app, or email to contact their therapist or practice. Half of the interviewees used text to directly communicate scheduling needs to their therapist. Many of the interview respondents reported feeling satisfied with the teletherapy process. Among the interviewed participants, they liked having a flexible choice between desktop and mobile, transparent and automatic billing, and insurance contribution to session fees. Despite these satisfactory aspects, participants also expressed some areas of dissatisfaction with the specific platform they used. Inability to set recurring sessions at a regular interval, lack of transparency around session amounts for school-subsidized programs, and inability to communicate directly with their therapist were pain points for interviewees. So let's take a deeper look into the digital experience of various platforms. When interviewees discussed the platform they used to complete virtual therapy sessions, they mainly mentioned using video conferencing platforms over popular third-party sites or apps. From this visual, we can see that Zoom was the most popular, followed by Simple Practice and then Doxy.me. Talkspace and Timely Care tied for third most popular for our participants. Zoom was described by participants as familiar and intuitive due to previous experiences for professional or educational reasons. Although sometimes Zoom required multiple steps, including a password, which respondents labeled as annoying. Simple Practice was reportedly a very simple app with minimal distracting features. It launches sessions in an app via an emailed link for those who use the mobile app. Doxy was detailed as a seamless platform from which patients can access sessions via an email link sent 5 minutes prior to the session. It was touted for its quick check-in process, which allows users to enter the session and wait for their therapist. Talkspace was promoted to millennials and Gen Z via podcasts and college campus advertisements. It offers a chat room from which users can conveniently schedule and hold sessions. Timely Care was also marketed to students as a convenient and free platform offered in partnership with their university. Our teletherapy survey results supported the interview findings, as you can see from this chart. We found that 24% of respondents had used or were using video conferencing services such as Zoom, FaceTime, or Google Meetings for mental or behavioral services, while just 11% have used Teledoc and even less used alternative third-party sites or apps. The popularity of Zoom for teletherapy may be due to its HIPAA-compliant status, and most likely due to its intuitive use for patients who may already be familiar with the platform, as it's been around since 2011. Similarly, FaceTime has been a popular platform for iOS users since 2010. Zoom's prevalence has endured through the COVID pandemic, and in March 2020, the height of the pandemic, it was the most popular video conferencing service used by adults in the US, over Facebook Messenger, Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, and Google Hangout. Patients value having direct communication access to their therapist. Interviewees mentioned liking the ability to directly contact their therapist via text or teletherapy app. Some of the most common reasons include informing the therapist of a new update, asking the therapist a question, receiving links for information or resources mentioned in the session, scheduling and rescheduling an appointment, or simply checking in on each other. While users appreciate having this direct communication option, they also stated the importance of having boundaries. Participants reported the need to maintain a professional relationship by not sending too many texts or late-night messages, which may bother the therapist. The screenshot on this slide is an example of the Telehealth by Simple Practice mobile app chat functionality. It's very minimalistic and allows patients to send and receive messages from their therapist while completing a session. Even though the chat gets deleted after the session ends, it provides a space to send relevant materials or links or resolve any tech issues that may arise during the session. However, going a step further, having the ability to directly communicate with the therapist after the session can be beneficial if either the therapist or patient wants to follow up with information, material, or links. Participant 6 mentioned this when discussing the ability to text and be sent materials, links, and attachments through the Talkspace app. They also mentioned the ability to directly message and alert the therapist if something came up. Some, like participant 5, mentioned texting their therapist for rescheduling purposes, finding that easier than emailing. Another participant who lacked such an ability felt bad when they had to reschedule via an automated system, saying that it felt impersonal. They wanted to explain their reasoning or understand their therapist's reason for canceling. For them, this level of communication was important for building rapport. Patients appreciated appointment reminders via email or text, as it may be easy to forget a teletherapy appointment, especially since participants did not need to commute to different locations. Most interviewed participants referred to multiple appointment reminders as helpful, especially when the users had the ability to add the appointment to their calendar application. Most users appreciated 2 to 3 reminder alerts, with one sent closer to the time of the session. Reminders including the session link are key, so users can then quickly click the link to access the session. This decreases the need to search for the link at the time of the appointment, potentially delaying the start of the session. We found that while users reported various technical difficulties during their virtual therapy sessions, the same participants mentioned that it did not impact their overall teletherapy experience or therapeutic relationship. In fact, most interviewees reported experiencing at least one form of technical difficulty on the therapist, patients, or both sides during an appointment, such as connectivity problems due to Wi-Fi or mobile signal, frozen screen, minimized video due to bandwidth issues, or broken session links. So, while most users reported having technical issues, some found quick backup solutions and switched devices or telecommunication platforms. The majority of users still mentioned building rapport, and a few referenced that the virtual sessions still mirrored in-person sessions. For example, participant 3 discussed the technical issues they experienced during their virtual session using Talkspace. However, later reflected on a positive experience with their therapist, calling her really good and highly qualified. They even mentioned being comfortable speaking to the therapist through a digital way, even after never spending time with them in person. Lastly, interview participants highlighted their preference for simple platforms to complete teletherapy sessions. Users reported not wanting to be distracted by too many extra features or options. For them, important settings included video, audio, and chat functionalities. One interviewee wished for a messaging capability on the Timely Care platform to communicate with their therapist back and forth. At the moment, they can only receive but not send messages via the platform. Here is an example of the mobile and desktop experience for Simple Practice, which a participant liked due to its simplicity. As you can see from the screenshots, it resembles familiar video conferencing platforms with the ability to adjust video and audio settings, share content, chat during the session, and end the meeting. If a patient attempts to enter the meeting room earlier than the session time, a helpful notification appears on the right with a Get Help link. Participant 10 explained that they tend to be easily distractible, so having a simple interface with minimal functionality and options allows them to concentrate on the session with the therapist. Now, let's take a look at the sentiments participants expressed regarding their teletherapy experiences. We asked interviewees about their primary reason for seeking teletherapy rather than in-person therapy. We found that many noted it was due to safety during the COVID-19 pandemic, or it was the only option during such times as providers did not offer in-person sessions. Other reasons for choosing teletherapy included having a busy life and a packed schedule, that a therapist they were compatible with was located far away, or they received a recommendation from a family member or friend. We found similar results in our survey, with the top reason for selecting teletherapy being safety regarding infectious diseases, followed by not needing to travel to the provider's office. This holds true for all age groups and genders. Despite the convenience of teletherapy, patients are, in general, open to in-person sessions. Among survey respondents who have only attended teletherapy, 76% are very or somewhat open to attending in person. Interviewees who have experienced both in-person sessions and teletherapy responded positively to in-person sessions, noting they felt comfortable being there physically. Another interviewee mentioned that his therapist makes him feel at home, so it would be nice to attend both types of sessions. At the same time, some interviewees had reservations about in-person therapy due to travel, time commitment, inconvenient scheduling, and busy personal lives. Participant 9 mentioned that the in-person aspect of having to go to and from the office makes it feel more like a to-do item, as he's gotten used to attending sessions virtually. Another interviewee mentioned having interest in going in person, but due to not having a car in the location of the therapist's office, it's not convenient to get there. As more therapists are now providing both virtual and in-person sessions, patients must balance their preference and interests with the way teletherapy fits into their daily lives. When we asked interviewees about their relationship with their therapist, many used positive words to describe it, like casual, conversational, and friendly. They noted the importance of being able to speak freely and openly. However, interviewees, such as participant 5, did note that the session should still be professional despite the comfortable and trusting nature of it. Another participant mentioned that it is important that his therapist is able to critique him and offer constructive criticism. We provided survey respondents a list of aspects of mental and behavioral teletherapy services, such as the availability of appointments that suit their schedule and the ease of using teletherapy platforms. 88% of patients considered how well the staff and provider respected their privacy, as well as the courtesy, respect, sensitivity, and friendliness of their provider is very or extremely important. Other important aspects include the thoroughness, carefulness, and skillfulness of their provider, as well as how their provider answered questions. The length of teletherapy sessions was at the bottom in terms of top 2 box importance, as only 65% of participants marked it as very or extremely important. One interviewee did mention that sometimes if things are going well and they have finished discussing everything, they agree to cut the session off 5 minutes or so earlier. As usually he attends his sessions in the middle of the workday, he does not mind the session ending a few minutes early. Many of the interview respondents reported feeling satisfied with their teletherapy sessions. They were satisfied with the quality of the session, the rapport they built with their therapists, the convenience of being able to attend a session from anywhere, and not needing to travel or pay for gas to arrive at the office. One mentioned that the progress she made in the past 9 months with teletherapy cannot compare to the 2 years of in-person sessions she previously had. Likewise, at least 75% of survey respondents across each age group also reported feeling very or extremely satisfied with their teletherapy sessions. Despite these satisfactory aspects, participants also expressed some areas of dissatisfaction. This included technical difficulties, like the screen changing size during a session or the audio going in and out, a lack of privacy of completing sessions from home, especially if talking about someone they live with, and the limited availability of preferred therapists. One participant mentioned that her therapist usually schedules appointments at night, and she once had a session at 10:30 p.m. She expressed frustration at having to work with these time slots. Similarly, survey respondents reported feeling very or extremely satisfied with many elements of their teletherapy experience. Satisfaction levels were generally similar across various aspects for both gender and generation. Interestingly, we noticed some differences between millennials and Gen Zers. 81% of millennials were satisfied with the length of teletherapy sessions, while only 69% of Gen Zers were. As for the availability of teletherapy appointments that suited their schedule, 80% of millennials were very or extremely satisfied, while only 68% of Gen Zers were. Before getting started with teletherapy, some participants expressed feeling skeptical about it, especially if they had previously attended in-person therapy. Concerns included receiving lower quality of care and that sessions would become informal through virtual meetings. However, Participant 9 realized that it was easier to talk to his therapist through teletherapy, and none of the issues he was worried about came true. Another interviewee, Participant 10, realized after starting teletherapy that it works well without the in-person aspect, something they used to consider critical to the session. Interviewees reported plans to continue with teletherapy or a combination of virtual and in-person services for a variety of reasons. Again, those who plan to continue with teletherapy highlighted the convenience of completing sessions from anywhere and the flexibility of fitting a session within a busy work and personal schedule. Some were interested in attending both types and valued having the option of both. 94% of survey participants indicated that they were somewhat or very likely to continue using teletherapy services in the future. This did not vary significantly based on age group. 80% of survey respondents and all interviewees were very or extremely likely to recommend teletherapy to family members or friends seeking mental or behavioral therapy services. Interviewees provided several reasons why they would recommend teletherapy, but commonly emphasized video calling as a convenient or easy way to complete teletherapy. Students who have access to such services through their universities noted the convenience and ease of access to teletherapy. Interviewees also highlighted that teletherapy is a non-intimidating way to try therapy, as patients can attend sessions in a room or environment they are comfortable or familiar with. One interviewee said that if the therapist did not seem compatible, it is easier to break the news over a screen as opposed to in person. Another participant expressed similar sentiments by saying that one can simply respond via email to let the therapist know that they will not be continuing sessions. Overall, interviewees agreed that it was easier to try out a session with a new therapist online compared to physically going to the office and sitting face-to-face with someone, especially if one is already nervous about starting therapy to begin with. Other reasons participants would recommend therapy include how convenient it is for those with busy schedules and those who don't have time to commute to and from the therapist's office. For example, one interviewee mentioned they have recommended teletherapy to their mother, who was a full-time caregiver to the interviewee's father and couldn't leave the house often. This provided a convenient form of therapy for someone who could not easily leave the house but needed emotional support. Some participants mentioned that they would recommend family or friends who were interested in both to try in-person and teletherapy sessions to see which one they prefer and matches their needs best. So now let's wrap up the key takeaways of our study. Teletherapy sessions are convenient and engaging. All interviewees found it as a convenient method of engaging in therapy from anywhere at any time. Teletherapy sessions can work concurrently with in-person sessions. About half of the survey respondents have attended both in-person therapy and teletherapy sessions. Users prefer a simple, streamlined desktop platform without excessive features. Most patients enjoy simple and intuitive platforms, finding excessive features distracting. Timely care and simple practice stood out in this area. Text and in-app messaging capabilities are highly valued by participants. Patients with the ability to text their therapist outside of their appointment greatly value the capability, and those without it wish they had a way to connect via text or platform. Older generations prefer desktop, while younger generations prefer mobile. Respondents mostly use desktop and mobile, or mobile only, although desktop is the preferred method for older generations and mobile for younger segments. The majority of patients opt for desktop when completing sessions, but prefer mobile when working or traveling. Video calls are the most popular and preferred format, followed by audio and then text. Video conference services like Zoom and FaceTime are the most popular platforms across all age groups. Patients mainly use Zoom and like it due to their familiarity with the platform and its intuitiveness. Even with technical difficulties, most users like teletherapy due to its convenience and reported that such issues do not impact their therapeutic relationship. Overall, most individuals were satisfied with many aspects of their teletherapy sessions and would continue using the service in the future and recommend it to others. Some users who were skeptical prior to trying teletherapy reported enjoying it and wishing to continue these sessions in the future. The convenience of teletherapy outweighs any technical issues or other negative factors, as teletherapy continues to increase in popularity across generations. Thank you for joining me as we looked over some of the key takeaways from Corporate Insight's teletherapy study.